Welcome to the Wednesday Match Play, your weekly connection to the biggest and best brands in golf. On this show you will learn more about the latest golf fashion trends, hear from LPGA and PGA Tour players, get advice on planning your next golf getaway, and much more. Broadcasting live from Santa Rosa, California, please welcome your host, On the Tee, Ricky Potts.
Jose was on this podcast last year promoting the Grint, a handicap app that tracks scores, fairways, greens, putts, and more. I'm a big fan of that app. Now he's back with a new app that lets users buy and sell golf equipment online. The app is called Gimme Golf, and it has only been out for a few weeks. The app is invitation only, but it is already impressing users worldwide. As a power user of the Grint, I know Gimme Golf is going to be good, and I was excited to learn more about it. Let's jump into it. Jose, welcome to the Wednesday Match Play podcast.
All right. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you've been on this podcast in the past, but we've got something new to talk about this evening. When we were on this podcast prior, you were promoting the Grint, which is an app that I love and I still use to this day. I am obsessed with tracking stats. But now we're going to talk about Gimme Golf. It's a brand new app, and I'm talking brand new as in no one's probably heard of it, that you're working on. So start by giving us an overview of the app, what it is, what it does, and kind of give us the elevator pitch of what Gimme Golf is all about.
Yeah, so, first, again, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be back here talking to you and your audience. And yeah, definitely, this app is, like you said, we literally launched it or opened it up to our audience, to the app stores on April 1st. So it's been out there for 20 days. There's already, we already have thousands of people on it, believe it or not, but it, it's definitely not something that we're openly promoting. So it's probably the first time I'm talking to a larger audience than just what we have. So that's that. And what Gimme is, what is it? It's a marketplace. So all of us golfers, we all have a garage or whatever full of old clubs. Gimme is basically the first app or marketplace for golf, where people are going to be able to sell their golf items to other golfers, right? And I think in general, others, golfers in general have tried to do that through general marketplaces. The problem with that is that it's not specific. Golf is very, very unique. So I think we're trying to cover that niche and make sure that we're offering exactly what they're looking for. So yeah, so that's the gist of it. There's much more than just that, but I'll stop there.
Is the app free? Because I use apps. I've got 50 apps on my phone that I use on a daily basis. And to this day, I have never paid for an app. And I'm sure that puts me in the 1%. But for an app like this, it seems like it's got a social network perspective to it. It's also got the, the financial aspect where I have something and I sell it to you or vice versa. So is the app free, and how is the app generating revenue?
It is free. It's absolutely free to download. However, obviously, if you do make a sale, then we would get a percentage. We'll get a 10% commission. If you compare that to other apps like, Poshmark or other marketplaces, you're seeing at 18% when they do it. We're only charging 10%. So download it, absolutely free. If you sell something, then we'll get our share.
So the app is free, and that makes sense that you take a percentage of the sale. As a person selling items, the strategy then can maybe become, okay, I'm going to charge 8, 10, 12% more, knowing that you're taking that, or that 10%. So is that something that you've seen some of the users currently do, or is that something you encourage or hope that they don't? Just kind of what's your strategy from the app's perspective?
Well, that's interesting that you asked that, because I don't think golfers that are selling something will need to do that. And I'll tell you why. Right now, a lot of us golfers, when we want to sell one of our items, we go to a store and we trade it in for something else. And that golf store usually can sell it for a lot more than what you traded in for. And I'll give you, a quick rundown. So if a golf store can sell a used golf club for $150, you would be selling it to them for somewhere around $50. So they're making 3 times what you sold it for. So they're making 200% of profit. basically, if you go through Gimme, you're skipping the middleman, right? So someone out there is willing to pay $150 for that club. But instead of having to give it to that golf store for $50, you're already selling it for $150. So even if you give us that 10%, you're making 135 instead of 50. The beauty of this is that right now the middleman is overcharging you. So when you're trying to sell that golf club and they give you $50 and you have no other option, right? So basically what do? You give it to them, right? What are you going to do with that golf club in your garage? Now you don't need to go through them. Now you can sell it directly and get the whole margin, the whole dollar for that. You don't have to charge 10% more than you wish to get for your club.
We're going to talk about that because I have a club literally sitting on my desk right now that I'm curious your thoughts on. So we'll get to that. Now, the app is by invitation only. It's brand new, but how does someone at home get an invitation?
Well, so yes, right now is by invitation only. If you are a grinter and have been a grinter in the past before we launched the app, then you would get access to it without having an invitation code or anything. You simply log in with your Grint credentials. However, if you are new to the Grint and new to Gimme, then it is by invitation only. I'll give you a code for your audience. It's a 6-letter code. It is 2QX8, B as in Bobby, C as in cat. The number 2, QX8BC. That is a code if you want to join.
And that's cool that you have that connection to the Grint. And we'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes. But I like the fact that you have been able to take a product that you have created and have done so well with and transition it into Gimme Golf. And when you reached out to me a few weeks ago about Gimme Golf, I loved the concept and I love seeing it kind of come to fruition. So how did you come up with the name Gimme Golf? And it's really funny that you mentioned that because I'm a big fan of the Gimme. I mean, if it's within a foot, 2 feet, club length, 8 feet, it's good, right? So how did you come up with that name?
So we were looking for a name that would represent that with this app or in this community, you could find deals that you could not miss. So what's a gimme? Something that is given to you because you cannot miss it. So that's a concept that we're trying to communicate. That are deals so good that are impossible to miss.
I love that because I'm surprised that name hadn't already been taken. And I think your comment about it's a deal you can't afford to miss, like a putt, I think Sergio Garcia would probably have something to say about that right now.
That's right. That is right. I was also very surprised that Gimme was not taken. We have the trademark and everything. It is incredible that in 2018, which is when we trademarked it, it was available. Someone had it before, but then they let it go, and we were lucky enough to catch it in the right time.
That is awesome. I just love that name, that brand, and just the fact that the story behind it is incredible. Now, I have an iPhone. What about Android? Is it available on both of those devices?
Absolutely. It is available on both devices. Right now, only app-based, so only through iPhone and through Android. There's no website. There's no, it's only app-based. Eventually, we will add a website, but currently just apps.
Are you able to use the Grint website and or the email database that you've collected there over the years to promote Gimme Golf? And I'm just curious what your plans are. It is, like you said, brand new, but what are the plans for the immediate growth for this application?
So the short answer is no, we can't. We have a strict privacy policy with the emails that we collect in the Grint. So we are going to abide to that, right? We're going to everybody that signed up to the Grint, they trust us, and we're gonna keep that. We're gonna be honest with that. So how are we gonna grow it? So that's an interesting question. So, and I'll start by saying this. Because this is a marketplace, what happens is that there needs to be a way for people to pay each other. And So if you buy a golf club from me, then I need to be able to pay you and you need to be able to receive that money. And because of that, we had to create a digital wallet within Gimme. And that digital wallet allows you not only to pay for stuff, but it also allows you to pay other golfers on the golf course or outside the golf course, or for any reason. Why is that important, and why that has anything to do with the Grint and how we pretend to grow it? So in the Grint, people use the Grint when they're in the golf course, when they're tracking their scores. And at the end of pretty much every round, there's a moment when there's a settlement of expenses, right? And that can happen for many reasons. Maybe someone paid for the beers, or someone won the match, or whatever it is, right? And at that moment, it was important and we saw it when we saw our golfers. It is important for golfers to have an easy way to pay each other. So if I owe you $2 and I don't have cash, how do I pay you? So Gimme is going to be integrated within the Grint so that you can pay other golfers directly. And if I owe you $2 at the end of the round, now I don't have any excuse to pay you those $2. And that can happen either from my credit card, which you would not get charged at 3% when I pay the other person, or you can simply withdraw that money from your bank and then pay that other person. And everything will happen digitally. Everything, would be really easy for users and golfers to use. And that's how we plan to integrate these two. And that's why we believe that eventually our Grinters and our community of Grinters, it's very big at this time, will start using it because it's such a convenient way to start paying each other at the end of the rounds.
How many people have downloaded the app, and do you have a goal of where you would like to be?
So right now, like I said, we've only been out for 22 days. We're in the thousands. We're right now, I think, at 3,000 downloads. Again, this is like you said, is that by invitation only. So we are limiting in some ways. Yes, we're limiting kind of how this grows, but at the same time, we're trying to create a very exclusive group of people, right? We only want to invite golfers. We only want to invite friends of our friends. And that makes it more useful and more unique. You got to be able to trust the person that you're selling your item to, or especially the person that you're buying a golf club from. And that's why the invitation only exists, right? To make sure that it's an exclusive group and that, only people that we know are going to be selling there. Therefore, you're not going to get equipment that is not what they really say. Having said that, though, we do have a mechanism. So when you buy something from me, let's say that you bought a putter from me, right? And you paid $150 for that putter. When you pay, that money is going to be in an escrow account. So it won't be released to me until you receive the item and you say that the item was received and is in good conditions, or at least the conditions that I told you that they would be in, right? And at that time, you release the funds and they get to me. So that's another great way that we're facilitating that transaction and making sure that the seller is not selling you an equipment that is not the real deal.
I know it's invitation only, but any plans to take this to the PGA show next year?
You know what? We haven't thought about that yet. We're still far. In the startup world, 9 months is an eternity. So it's still far from now to January. So, but most likely no. I mean, we always go, but we don't create a stand, or we don't publicize it there. Who knows?
What has been the feedback from the current member list that you have? The good, the bad, the indifferent?
I think in general, we did have the app for a limited group of beta users for about a couple of months. I think we did learn a lot from them, and we did incorporate a lot of that feedback into the app, and we learned a lot. In general, right now, after 22 days, we don't have much feedback from the constructive side to put in. I think people have liked the fact that the whole escrow functionality that I mentioned. They like the fact that they can offer a price. So let's say that you're selling an item for 250. I can offer 220, and you can decide to accept it or not. So it's not only like a straight price thing, but then you can also make offers. And the second thing that they have liked a lot, which I haven't told you about this yet, but we've also made relationships with golf stores. And one thing that we did is that we created this model that is we're calling the backspin program, which is something that we have gotten amazing feedback. We've gotten amazing feedback from people. And what the backspin program does is that it allows you to pay a monthly fee to get the latest equipment and renovate that equipment or update that equipment every year. So for example, let's say that you want to get a new driver. Nowadays, a driver goes for $499. That's a pretty steep price for a piece of club that you're going to use for three years until the manufacturers are claiming that piece of equipment is obsolete. So what do? We allow you to pay $30 a month. You get a brand new club. You use it for 12 months. And after 12 months, you can say, you know what? I want to upgrade to the latest technology. And you just send us that club back, and we'll send you a brand new equipment with a brand new technology. And you can keep using that and keep paying the $30 until 12 months pass by and you get the new equipment. So that's another way that we're adding value. That's another gimme. That's another deal that you cannot miss. Because who doesn't want to have the latest technology every season? And the way that the industry is structured right now, it is impossible to get that, right? You need to paying $499 for a driver every year, because then every year they're telling you that your driver from last year, no, that it wasn't the greatest thing on earth. Now this is the real deal. And we hear this year over year, and we have to admit that the technology does advance, right? So how do you get access to that latest technology? And this is our way to give you that, to give our community that.
But let's say I get an invite. What is that experience like? Once I download the app, what can I as the user expect to experience?
So first thing, you download it, you click register, and you use the code that I gave you before, and you register, and that's it. And then once you register, you're going to see a lot of used items for sale from our community, who has already posted hundreds of items. And then you will also be able to post your own item. And then in addition to that, the third thing you would see will be a digital wallet. Like I told you before, you'll see your wallet where you can activate that, you can add funds to your wallet, and then you can start sending money to other friends for free, absolutely free. If I'm going to send you $10, the other person is going to get the $10, the full $10, right? So, and if you want to withdraw, you withdraw and you send it to your bank account, right? So that's how it works.
Okay, so I keep going back to this thing on my desk. I have a driver head that I don't want, don't need, won't use. Let's say I want to sell that. Can I list a single head? And in addition to just that driver head, let's say I've got a Tiger Woods bobblehead I want to list. What are kind of the things that are being listed, and what are the restrictions on what I am allowed to list as a user?
Hey there, it's Gabe Aloisi from Private Club Radio. If you are in the private club business, meaning you're a manager, you're a membership director, you sit on the board of directors, and you want to be entertained and educated, we have a weekly show on Mondays here on the Golf Radio Network. It's called Private Club Radio, and it's just for you. You can give it a listen over at privateclubradio.com or subscribe wherever podcasts are heard.
You can pretty much upload anything. Every time that someone uploads an item that we don't know of or that is not categorized correctly, our backend team gets that information. And then we add that to our equipment list. So if you're going to send that bobblehead driver and we don't have it, which I think we do, we literally have tens of thousands of equipments in our database. But if we don't have it, then you simply post it, you put the name manually, and then our team eventually will add it to the list.
I might list this head. I'm just saying,
I
look at it daily and I'm like, get out of my house. I don't want you anymore. let's say that I buy something from someone, I get it, it's not what I thought that it was going to be, and I don't like it. This might go back to what you were talking about, the funds being an escrow, but what is the return policy?
So the return policy is that if the item is not what was described, then you get you get the chance to send us a picture. We'll check it, and if it's true that it's not what the seller described, then you get a full refund of your money, and you'll get paid not only the shipping in but the shipping back, right? However, if the item is exactly what they described, then you do get charged. Yeah.
Now,
it's the opportunity. If you take it and then you don't like it when you get it, but it was exactly what it was described, then you're taking the possibility from the seller to sell it to someone else, right? So it is important. It is, as if you buy it, you should be willing to keep it. It's a policy that we'll be reviewing. We'll be seeing case by case to see how it goes. But that's the current situation. How we plan to treat it.
Hence the name. Let's say I have a 3-foot putt for par. We're on like the 12th hole. Is that good? And for what it's worth, I gave you a similar putt on the last hole.
Definitely not. I mean, it depends. Is it downhill and breaking?
Hey, you've seen me putt. I'm going to make it.
All right. Even if it's straight up, are we betting? Who's winning? Are you winning or am I winning?
I mean, you're a player. I'm not, and I don't gamble when I play. So it's regardless if I make the putt or I don't. I love your analysis of this. Like, this is fantastic.
Very unlikely that I'll give it to you. 3 feet. Come on, you can miss it.
I'm probably just going to pick it up and go to the next tee. I'm just saying. It's good in my book.
All right. I'll charge you. Use a Gimme.
That is clever right there. So I'm curious, what's next for you? I mean, you had a humongous impact with the Grint. Now, Gimme Golf is coming. Are you an entrepreneur that's always thinking about the next app that's coming behind this? Are you already working on something else? Kind of, what's the immediate? I mean, I know you just launched Gimme Golf, but what's the immediate future look like for you and the app? And what are you going to be working on once this is successful?
Yeah. So look, I mean, yes, we do have many ideas and we have so many things out there that we want to do. But like I was saying before, a day or a week, a month is an eternity in the startup life, right? So right now we're only thinking about this. We're focusing our entire energy in creating a community and curating a community that is worth it for our golfers. So right now, to be honest, we're not thinking much more than the Grint and Gimme. I think these two apps are going to complement each other very nicely. I think they're going to add value to our community. I think if we can use the data that we have in the Grint, I'll give you this example. If we can use the data that we have in the Grint and we can provide you with real data that tells you what kind of equipment you need to use and what equipment would work for you and your handicap level and the kind of performance that you have on the golf course. If we can use that data and give you an advantage to make the right decisions of what you need to buy. And if we can do that and at the same time offer you a better price for that item. Right now, we always think that we want the latest club, but sometimes that's not what you need. So if you can get a used club that would give you the same benefits of a new club, and we have data supporting that, why not do that, right? And spend $200 instead of $500 for a new club, right? That's the kind of stuff that we want to do. That's how we want to have an impact on our community, by allowing them not only to create value from the golf clubs that they have in their garage sitting that are doing nothing, and use that money to buy something that would help your game, right? Give that club to someone that is going to use it and is going to get value from it, and then use those incoming funds to get something that will add value to you. And even if you don't buy a new club, buy some golf balls or buy some golf gloves that you will buy anyway, right? but then use the money that you already spent in those all clubs to get that money, right? So that's kind of our mission. That's what we want to do. Like always, we always want to add value to our community, find a way to help them and to improve their golf inside of the golf course, but also outside of the golf course. And now with Gimme, we believe that we have an amazing opportunity to do that.
Where can folks at home learn more about Gimme Golf? I know that you've mentioned the promo code, and I appreciate you offering that to my listeners. But where can people learn more about the app and kind of get a feel for what the app actually does?
I think the easier way, you can go to the Android Google Play Store or the iPhone App Store and simply, type Gimme Golf, and it will be there. You'll see the information. You'll see the screenshots. You'll see, a description of the item. You can also go to our website. It's called gimmegolfaltogether.app, A-P-P. So gimmegolf.app. Our website is very limited in content. It is done on purpose. Like I said before, we are trying to curate our community. This is a by invitation only community. People can only join if they get an invitation from someone else. So that's why our website is not very, it's not very informational. Let's say it that way. But like I said, you guys already have the code, and obviously I'd love to have your audience join. And we'll post that code in the description of the podcast, I'm sure, so that people can join.
Now, it was a little over a year ago you were on this show, and I don't remember what you said then. I should go back and look. But after he won the Masters, I'm curious if your answer has changed. But do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
So back then, I do remember this because I've always said the same. So I said, yes, he will win more majors. I said, no, he will not break Jack's record. I don't know. Here's the thing. I think he won the Masters, right? Augusta is probably the one course in the whole golf world where he would have the most advantage against even the professionals, right? Any of the PGA Tour professionals. Why? He's played it more than anyone else out there. Maybe Mickelson would be the only exception. And he has won there so many times. He has the confidence. He has the knowledge. And you could see it. I mean, you could see it on the final round. The 12th hole was the most obvious one, but there's so many other examples where he really played the course like you have to play that course. And some of the others golfers, they just kept making the wrong decisions. And even though Molinari was making up and downs throughout the whole front nine, you cannot hold that the full 18 in Augusta. That just doesn't happen. So I guess my point is, if he was going to win a major, the first one was going to be Augusta. Now, can he win in Bethpage and Pebble Beach where he has won in the past? Yeah, but it's a different experience. It's not as unique and as knowledgeable and knowledge-based golf course like Augusta, right? So I think that's going to be the challenge. I still think the jury's out. I still think that he has to prove himself in a course that is not that unique. But I hope he does. Like I said in the last time we spoke, I'm a huge fan. I had tears down my neck when he won that Sunday on the Masters. So I cannot wait to see what he does. I'm looking forward to it. Plus, nothing will benefit the sport better than having him back. So, everything he does, I'm all for it.
Good answer. And I am with you. I was bawling like a baby when he won that tournament.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome.
In golf, the 19th hole is a slang term for a bar or a restaurant on or near the golf course, very often in the clubhouse itself. This edition of the 19th hole is presented by Le École number 41, a small family-owned artisan winery located in Walla Walla, Washington. Right now, I'm drinking a bottle of their 2017 Chenin Blanc. This bottle is old vine. It's crisp, aromatic, and the flavor is fresh. Has a ton of citrus notes, and I can just see this being a great bottle poolside during the summer. It was 90 degrees today here in Santa Rosa, so I can see this being a bottle I could drink more than one of. What is your favorite 19th hole, and what are you drinking?
Yeah, so my favorite 19th hole. Yeah, it has to be Erin Hills. So I was fortunate enough to go there last year. It is just gorgeous, and yeah, I like beer. I don't go very fancy. I like beer. It is refreshing. It's usually you want something to something very cold. So yeah, a beer. Nothing beats a beer.
As a beer guy, I love that. Jose, thank you again for coming back on the show. This has been awesome to learn more about this new endeavor that you have. I'm a big fan of the Grant. I've been using it since you and I connected. I mean, it's been 2 or more years now, and I love the data, and I love finishing a round of golf, going to the app. I don't record during the round. I'm a big fan of writing it on the scorecard, but when you told me about Gimme Golf just a couple of weeks ago, I was so excited about it. I was excited to learn more, and I really am pumped to see where you go and where you take this app, and keep doing what you're doing. And I look forward to your next endeavor.
Absolutely, yeah. And 4 years ago when we were starting the apps of the Grant, I could only hope that someone would tell me what you're telling me right now, right, about the Grant. And it is definitely exciting to hear that we've come long ways, from that point. And now that we're starting Gimme, I have so much confidence that we're in 3 years from now, hopefully we'll have a large community of golfers that are going to be saying similar things about Gimme and how Gimme has changed their lives and hopefully changed the way that they buy golf equipment. So very excited about this project, very excited about the possibilities and how the Grant and Gimme are going to be working together to add value to the golf community. So thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and obviously now to talk to your audience.
That puts this installment of the Wednesday Match Play podcast in the books. But we'll be back next week for another exciting episode of the show.